Good morning, everybody. Thank you for that very kind introduction, and good morning to the distinguished panel that we have here today. During the course of the next 15 or 20 minutes or so, what I intend to do is to share with you some of my experiences over the last 22 years leading up to the point of bringing me to the Banyan. So whilst I'm standing here with the nominal title in there saying that I'm CEO of the Banyan, my sharing with you is based largely on understanding what happened in 22 years of a corporate existence, working with a very large financial services organisation called Zurich Financial Services. Zurich is an organisation that operates across 75 different countries in the world, not including India. I think we were a little late coming in on joint ventures when the market first opened up. Currently employing somewhere in the region of around 60,000 people. And by working within that organisation for the last 20 or so years, there have been enormous numbers of observations about how organisations themselves operate that can lead to excellent results. And what I'd like to do is share with you some of the insight that that's given me and some of the reasons why I believe that that can be taken directly, not just from a corporate environment, but in fact into any organisation that you wish to name, including the non-governmental organisations such as the Banyan, which I've been appointed to head. What I'm going to do over the next 20 minutes or so is therefore do some looking back at what I've learned, particularly looking to see where there are parallels between what happens in an MNC context and what could happen in an NGO context, to show that there are some very strong similarities. I'm also going to bring out some very stark differences, which I think actually gives NGOs the edge when it comes to the pursuit of excellence. In conclusion, the conclusion that I draw is that the strive for excellence depends entirely upon the people that you have employed within the organisation and the way in which they're led, which, hardly surprising, is pretty well the theme of the first session that we heard. An awful lot of the conversation that we had from the two keynote speakers this morning focused in on and looked at this whole idea of leadership being such an important aspect of what we will do. So, what leads an organisation to success? Around 15 years or so ago, the Zurich Financial Services in the UK formed a relationship with a group of NGOs in India. A fairly early forerunner of what is known as a CSR program these days, something called the Zurich Community Trust decided that it would reach out its charitable program and focus in on working with NGOs in South India. Now, the key premise that underpins that decision is that organisations need to be organised. I know that sounds fairly trite, but when it comes down to it, if you are going to be a successful organisation, if you are going to have a goal of growth and improved profitability, however we define growth and profitability, then you need to get yourselves organised. Take a look at any large MNC, and Zurich is a good example here. Any large MNC in the world will not just focus on service delivery, production departments, sales teams, and potentially some marketing. They'll also focus on how the organisation is run. So they'll have a corporate centre which focuses on making sure they're compliant with government regulation. They'll have a taxation department to make sure they pay their taxes properly. They'll have a finance department to look at not just what comes in, but budgeting for what goes out and looking at how to control those costs. In other words, they'll have a whole series of departments, people who are dedicated to managing the organisation, because they realise that if they want to be big, if they want to expand their influence and increase their growth, they need to manage the organisation properly to enable that to happen. Small organisations, when they first start out, will find that the organisations themselves manage themselves at a small kind of level. But they very soon realize that if they want to grow, they have to become better organized. And that's the premise that Zurich started off life looking at, saying, well, hang on a minute, if we as an organization need to be better organized to deliver our profit, denoted usually in financial terms, then we believe that an NGO also needs to be better organized to deliver its profit being a bigger impact on the local society and on the cause that it believes in. So we came to India 15 years ago with that very contention in mind that we needed to invest in organisations and develop systems. And largely, it's still fundamentally true that at the heart of it, an organisation cannot strive to improve what it does and to grow and to develop excellence models unless it is fundamentally organised. You need to have systems in place. So, okay, if you put systems in place, does that automatically lead to excellence? The answer, I'm afraid, is no. You can throw just as much, you can throw as much resource as you like into organising an operation, but if you don't have the rest of it in place, excellence will not follow. There are plenty of examples of growing businesses that are mediocre, as well as there are growing businesses that are excellent. So what is the difference? We believe, I believe, having again watched what has happened within an organisation, that it is the people that make the difference, hence the title of what I agreed to talk about today. And the people making the difference is determined by how well they are managed. I'll come back to that in just a moment. If you look at the experience that I've had over the last 15 or 20 years within the organisation, most of my working career has been involved in people interactions. So looking at the way in which one set of people deals with another set of people. And the one standout thing that makes a difference to outcome is the relationships that are built between the people involved. I started my career in a sales environment. I spent a number of years working with sales, both directly and training salespeople and working with sales managers. And wherever there was an opportunity to look at that, relationships were the key. Take the salesperson. They know they have some products that they need to sell. They know they have customers in front of them. But successful sales are only ever built, successful sales meaning lasting sales, sales which have repeat orders, sales which have added value the longer the relationship exists, are only built if you can understand your customer well enough. And that's about developing and building a lasting trust in the relationship with that customer and maintaining that trust and maintaining that relationship. The same is true of managing people. No matter what situation you find yourself in with a team of people, if you need to get an excellent outcome from the staff that you have working for you, then you have to understand where there is a mutual benefit to them putting in that effort, which is about developing and understanding a relationship with them so that they trust you, so that they believe in you, so that they want to work with you. Ultimately, relationships are the thing that makes a difference with human interaction, and relationships are the thing which determine outcomes. People may well deliver results, but it is the way that they are managed, the way that the relationships are developed, that will deliver excellent results. Which leads me to the third point on here. If you are looking to achieve excellence, if excellence is your strategic aim within an organisation, then you have to be able to find a way in which you use those relationship skills to harness the people to that strategy.